Listen, this is a conversation I've been looking forward to because I've always been so curious about this type of business. This business sells a product that majority of us consume at least once daily. Any guesses? You're smart, you're motivated, you want to do something big. You're on the verge of being a young boss, and we're going to help you get there. I'm your host, Isabel Berdena, and welcome to the Young Boss Podcast, where youth is your power. Today, we're talking to the owner of Berdena's specialty coffee shops, known for both the world-class coffee they serve and their cafe's design aesthetics. I'm excited to introduce the visionary behind it all, Jonathan Madrigal. Welcome to the Young Boss Podcast. We're so excited that you're here.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming. So tell us everything, right?
Yes, absolutely. No, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh,
thank you so much for inviting me. It's nice to be able to speak about something that a lot of people don't know. Is specialty coffee, and the platforms are out there, but it's so nice to have local platform that we can talk about this.
Good. Well, I'm excited that you're here. So you're from Costa Rica. Tell me about your journey. Yeah. How did you get into coffee, and what made you come to America?
Crazy journey. I'm adopted.
Yeah.
My parents are from Michigan. I was adopted. I was in my orphanage, the oldest. Definitely to be adopted.
Okay.
I was actually 16.
Wow, that is the oldest to be adopted.
Yes, very. And who adopts a 16-year-old guy, right? I was adopted. The whole immigration process is crazy.
Yeah.
From coming from a third world country, Costa Rica, to the U.S., someone's sold. So it was a crazy process. We were able to move to the U.S. when I was 17, 18, and got into college, got into the whole education system here, which was insane because I didn't speak English.
Oh my goodness.
So the orphanage that I was, they did teach us a little bit of English. So I have words and things like that.
Okay.
But going to that to immediately getting
high school,
which I didn't even could do. I had to do my GED because it was so difficult, right?
Yeah.
I remember studying those massive books and not understanding anything.
Yeah.
It just looks like gibberish to me. And from that to passing and then immediately to college, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But so that was my trip from over there to here in a nutshell, and a lot of things happened in between that.
Yeah. And so what got you into coffee?
My degree is actually in business and nothing to do with coffee. I was not even thinking about doing coffee.
Yeah.
Political science and business.
Yeah.
My sister, she was in the coffee industry for a long time.
Okay.
And in a specialty coffee.
Your sister in Michigan?
In Michigan,
okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she was pretty much the one that introduced me in coffee. We did, every time she came to visit, she brings a new roast and a new roaster, and we tested, and she taught me everything I know.
Aww.
I remember I got a little espresso machine. She gave me classes how to do latte art and all of that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And even then, I was not planning on being into coffee.
Yeah. It was just a fun family thing.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun because to share something with, to have something in common with my sister was amazing. After that, I wanted to be in politics one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely random. And at the moment, Arizona had a really good program, political science program. I started looking into it, and, I came here and just check it out. And I got in, graduated. In the process of me being in college and trying to find a good coffee shop, good coffee, it was so hard to get something that also gives them food, and that I was comfortable and that it was friendly and approachable. We had very limited, this was in the end of 2016, 15, 16, and there was just not that many coffee shops.
Yeah.
Walking in Old Town, and because I'm in Scottsdale and Tempe, so every time we go to my house, going through coffee shops, get in there. Horrible customer service.
Yeah.
Horrible food. And the coffee is mediocre.
Yeah.
Going to my house, there's this little space that it was for rent.
Yeah.
And I was with my mom that day, and I'm like, you know what? We should open something. We should do something. Joking, not even, serious about it. And she goes, what? That's ridiculous. No.
Yeah.
We go home, and I said, we really should call this guy. I'm thinking we can do something there. I don't know, it's just a coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
She did, and she called, and then all of a sudden we're getting to the process of owning a business, and it was just crazy, and it happened kind of fast. That's how I got into it, just because of the need of a good coffee.
Yeah.
And good food too.
Yeah.
I mean, at that moment, if you were to go to California, in San Francisco, LA, oh my gosh, the level of coffee
night and day. Yeah,
absolutely. And food as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what we wanted to bring to Scottsdale and into Phoenix. The ability to have a place that is friendly.
Yeah.
That you can come in and be welcome and you can stay there as long as you want and have a table that is long enough that you can put your computer, your food, your drink and just relax.
It doesn't feel like they're shoving you out because there's more people to come in.
100%, yeah. Okay. And be comfortable. So we wanted to bring that and that's kind of like how it began. And after that, it was a crazy journey. But
that is awesome. Were your Michigan parents, were they entrepreneurs?
Not really, not necessarily. But my mom had a couple little businesses here and there.
Yeah.
My mom is more into the design. He's an incredible cook, incredible chef. And she was the one that started designing the food and like, how do we keep something small? Like we have 3 items in one of the coffee shops but all of them have to be like amazing and consistently good. Yeah. So she did that. And also, I mean, I'm just starting a business. So like money's tight, like it's not like, and she did all my designs. My sister, the one that actually helped me with coffee at the beginning, now she's involved into the coffee shop on a architectural side of it. Okay. Design and everything. So it became a family thing. Yeah. Which was beautiful. Funny, like even after we opened, my grandparents came in and it started helping me, putting chairs together, putting tables together. But yeah, so my parents were not, but they definitely are more involved into like a lot of advice. And my mom, even right now, like we're now in the process of getting a bakery. Yeah. And she's designing pastries and desserts and all that. So
how did, like, you had this idea, you saw the building. Where did you come up with the money for this?
You know when they say, talk to your friends and family, talk to your friends and family. Yeah. Because nobody will care about you. Like if I go to a random person, it's not going to, you give them the idea. I was like, okay. So
it doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't. And it's always like, what is in it for me? Yeah. And which rightly so. Yeah. But when a family is different, they do want to see you succeed. Yeah. They want to help. Yeah. And so it was. I went to my parents and we figured out, we put all of our monies. I remember all of my credit cards were like all the way maxed. Yeah. Well, and I had no idea. When it comes to coffee shops, it's not really, a lot of that businesses, there's not like a roadmap that you can follow and that it's going to be successful. There's cues and there's clues out there that you can take and it's like, okay, that makes sense. But if I want to put on the computer how to start a coffee shop in Old Town, Scottsdale, like there's nothing, you know, it's different. I opened another one years later in Phoenix and it's a completely different process than the one in Scottsdale. Okay. Yeah.
Because you knew more by that point?
I knew more in that point and it was easier. Like now I'm like, okay, I remember what it was like. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I start this process in this order instead of, the order that I had it before. Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely all the credit cards maxed. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So tell me a little bit about like risk tolerance for you. Were you scared when you started? Yes. Or like how did you know it was going to be a success? Did you create a business plan to say, this is how much I think it's going to cost. This is how we'll market it. You knew that there was a need for it. Yes. But what about all the other like business logistics?
100%. Again, my background is business, international business kind of deal. I did it. I'm like, I'm going to put in my business plan. Yeah. And it didn't make sense. Yeah. Because it doesn't fit a format. So I'm like, I don't know if it's going to make money. I have 3 items. I don't know. This is my building. This is how much it costs. This is how much. And not knowing my business plan didn't make sense at all at the end of the day because it didn't make sense. Yeah. It's just more like I'm going blindly and the risk was massive. Yeah. I had no idea about costs, And then the other thing that is Arizona is really different from other states and is that you have a low summer. And you don't count with that when you're starting. You're thinking, oh yeah, every month I'm gonna make a little more. And you might be like January, February, March, April, and then you start going down. It's like, where's everyone? What's going on here? That's something you have to discover on your own. Yeah. And it is a shock. And that first year, and I think a lot of people that start businesses here in restaurants or whatever goes through this, you're excited, but that is where you are the most stressed, like the first year. Yeah. I remember before we opened the shop, we had a salon next to us, and the lady that owned the salon was really nice, but she was walking, and me and my mom were like talking about the dreams and what everything's gonna be like. This before we open. It was like a couple weeks before we actually opened, and this lady knocked on the window. I'm like, oh no, we're not open. I was like, no, we're, neighbor, we allowed her in, and she starts telling me the challenges that I'm going to get at that moment. Where the hell were you? Couple months ago.
Yeah.
But she goes, you know what? You are going to go through 3 things. Number 1, you are going to lose a ton of weight.
Yeah.
You're going to lose a ton of weight. That comes from stress, from all the things. You're going to lose a ton of weight.
Okay.
You're going to cry a lot.
Okay.
You're going to cry a lot. And then you're going to get really close to God. Whatever that is, you're going to get really close to God.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for the tip. It was great. She left, and great neighbor. And then all of a sudden I see my weight really go down.
Yeah.
Like, how I'm going to pay this month, how I'm going to pay my employees, how I'm going to pay this rent, how I'm going to get this, buy coffee, buy milk. We have this thing on the coffee industry that you're not into the coffee industry. You're more in the milk industry because you buy so much milk. But all of those things, like Costa, you have no clue that they were, they're there, but you don't know how you have to consistently have those things. And then payroll is the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can never let down of your employees. And
No.
So you're always thinking about, okay, what else can I get from myself to the business? And you start getting into now in your own pockets, and of course you lose weight. Of course you. And then I remember one time, this was like a year and almost a full year. I was getting some stuff on North Scottsdale. Coming down, it just hit me like out of the blue. I'm start crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is insane. And it started praying.
Was right.
Oh yeah, she was totally right. I started praying, God, please help me. And everything gets very real, very quick. And it's this frustration, because if it's in your control, you do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But some things are completely out of your control.
Right.
Like, doesn't matter how much marketing you do. It doesn't matter how much, Instagram you do. It doesn't matter. Like, some things are completely out of your control. And that is the frustrating part.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that got me the most, that affected me the most. The things that have no control. And then, I didn't realize that, hourly employees, they're going to take time off whenever they want to, they're going to have, and you can say no. It's more like, hey, I'm telling you I'm taking time off. I'm not requesting it. And then all of a sudden you're working those shifts, and you're now working, 15, 17 hours, and it gets really, really stressful.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of start to figure it out and say, okay, well, that's stupid. I should be doing this process, this other process, this other process. And then you talk to other people, other coffee shops owners, and it becomes like a nice, not a family, but definitely a community that everybody helps each other.
So are you guys friendly with each other, the other coffee shop owners?
Yes. At the beginning, it was difficult because everybody was very protective.
You're the new guy.
The new guy, yeah. I didn't realize this. Scottsdale had the worst water quality in Arizona. It's Arizona in general has bad water quality. And our roaster in that moment was a Ritual from San Francisco. People talking about water, machines, and all that. And I'm like, I don't know. I just water, right? I mean, you need good water. I'm like, okay. So she goes, you know what? Go to other coffee shops, especially coffee shops, and they will tell you what kind of water they have, what kind of water filtration. Oh. I remember going to a bunch of them. They're like, I don't know. It's just a water filtration. I'm like, I need to know. Like, can you tell me which one's? Like, I don't know. Okay. So it was a little weird. Like, people did not want to share a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I think the industry has changed a lot. And now we're very open, very friendly. And I've been in situations where I needed coffee right away. And then friends in different coffee shops, I said, yeah, of course, I got you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's definitely a great move, but we're friendly. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm thinking your enemy in business is not necessarily, I mean, you could view it as the other coffee shops, but do you view it more as the Starbucks, the Dutch Bros, the big guys, or do you view it more as who are you fighting to get your customers to come to you? Who are you fighting against?
That is funny. That is funny, yes. I always say that it would be amazing if I have a Starbucks across from me or next to me. I would love that because I know I can compete with them really well.
Yeah.
We are in the specialty industry, so that is a little different. If I have a specialty coffee shop next to me, makes it a little more challenging. But at the same time, I guess we don't see it as competition, but kind of.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it every time we get into new season, let's say summer, right? Now we have the seasonal drinks.
Right.
Who's going to have that first seasonal drink?
Yeah.
And who's going to come out first? And
the fun flavors,
Of course. So everybody will jump on social media. It's like, did this people? And then you see oh man, they did this drink. I wanted to do the drink. And now they did it first. And so you have a little bit of that because every time you change seasons, you have to have a specialty.
Yeah, people are into that.
Yeah, so the question is, okay, if all of us are going to have seasonal drinks, where are you getting your syrups from?
Yeah.
Are you making your own? Like, we make our own, and we're really proud of that because we can have control over the quality and everything. But that's another thing we're competing. I'm like, I wonder if who's making their syrups? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? Getting, Monin or so that is the thing that we see a little competition, but it's really healthy and it's amazing. I think I see it at least as a healthy challenge that,
You were telling me earlier that there's levels of coffee drinkers. So share with our listeners about that, because I don't know where everyone's at in their coffee experience.
Yeah. Well, so there is the different levels, and when we talk about a specialty coffee, I see it as a triangle. So we as specialty coffee are on the tip of the triangle.
Yeah.
But there are coffee shops, like not coffee shops. They have a cafe, coffee house, coffee shop.
Yeah.
And there's the quality of coffee goes from the bottom all the way up, meaning in the top, we're buying the most expensive coffees that they are.
Okay.
And we're getting it from roasters that train and they understand how to roast a really good coffee from whatever region.
Yeah.
But it is, so in the bottom line, so at the bottom of the cafes and coffee houses, they get a lot of the coffee from, a different varietal, maybe varietals that are cheaper, that are grow. In my house in Costa Rica, I have a little coffee. I don't know if it's still there, but I know there was a little coffee bush.
Yeah.
And that thing never died. It always produced coffee.
Oh.
But it's a Robusta coffee, which is like the lowest, the worst coffee you can buy.
Okay.
But it's cheap and it grows like weeds.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in that industry, they buy coffee, maybe not that bad, but definitely lower coffees. You also have of course, the Folgers and all that people that drink that. I think we're talking about the evolution of that, right? Yeah. When you are with your parents and you're doing Folgers or any of those coffees, and then after that you graduate to something better, and then now you are in the coffee house kind of, and then you go to graduating from the coffee house to the coffee shop. That is where we are now paying attention to farmers. We're paying attention to the process.
Yeah.
We're paying attention to different elements that make great coffee.
Yeah.
From, if we are talking about Africa, like what's going on in Africa, what's going on in Rwanda, Ethiopia. Now, we care about that now more because we actually are buying, really good coffees, really expensive coffees, and we want to know where they're coming from.
Right.
We want to know how much our producers are getting paid. We want to know, is it sustainable? Is it ethically done?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different level, and that you don't think about when you go into a coffee house or a cafe. Cafes are more like, food is the thing that drives the most, right? And then you have coffee. Mm-hmm. Coffee houses are, coffee is something that they focus on, but it's a really low quality coffees that they can put in a bunch of syrups, a bunch of sugars, and you have your sugar rush. And then as we try to avoid that, you're gonna see less syrups in coffee shops than coffee houses, because we really want to have that coffee shine. We want to see the process shine.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have, when you have iced cappuccino, that doesn't exist. Cappuccinos are just small. They're like a 6-8 ounces cappuccinos, something classic, right? We worry about the temperature in milk. The different temperature from a cappuccino to lattes is a different temperature in milk. And now we're worrying about latte art, making it look beautiful, right? That's where the coffee shops differentiate from the other two. But it is a graduation, and when it comes to the top and we see a lot of people that they knew they were coming from Starbucks and they want to do something, they want to know about something else, they want to know, like, what is the coffee coming from, like what is the difference between a roaster and just multi-roaster, right? Yeah. We are considered a multi-roaster, so we bring coffees from different roasters from around the world. Every year we do an international roaster, and it's fantastic because then you get to have coffee from people in Germany that they roasted in Germany, they roasted from different places.
Wow.
So that is really cool. And also the US, they roast differently than Europe, That'd be fun to see how,
it tastes and how it is. Hey, it's Isabel. Thanks for listening to the Young Boss podcast. I recently wrote a book called Young Boss, and it's filled with top tips I've learned over the years on how to survive and thrive in business. Pre-order your copy now by heading to the link in the podcast description. Now, back to the show. When it comes to coffee and where you're choosing where you're going to get your beans from, what is that process like? And I know you were saying that you guys like to share more of the story of this is why the cup of coffee costs this much, because look at this process, and we're involved and we're aware of this process. It's not just a bag, we give it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. So what does that look like?
So it is like a several steps process. So we have the Specialty Coffee Association, which is like a national thing, almost worldwide thing.
Okay.
And we go by the rules loosely, but we go by the rules. When we start looking at as a multi-roaster, I looking at what is in season right now.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, is Guatemalan season, Honduras in season, any kind of Africans in season, and then from there we rely on roasters to make sure they pick really good coffees from the farmers, right?
Okay.
So it is a trust system where if I'm gonna get a coffee from a specialty, which let's say Mythico, that is local, and we work with them, we're really good friends, we have great relationship, but I trust that he's going to pick coffees from ethical places, from like he's going to really understand how everything when everything comes together, right? I was talking to him about how we need to know about cost, right?
Yeah.
That's a big. So how do we know that the producer is actually getting paid an ethical pay, right?
Yeah.
And every country has different laws. And now it's specialty coffee. And coffee in general has been very protected by different countries. So I'm from Costa Rica. I know that in Costa Rica, we have now laws that protect producer and also the bean itself.
Yeah.
It used to be a point where people get coffee and grab the bush and just shook the bush and get everything that comes out, it goes in. Now it's different. Now it's like, no. Let's just get the really ripe beans, right?
Yeah.
And get those processes done where now that's sustainable, because now you don't not taking everything from the bush, you allowed it to keep producing. And so things like this, things like just caring about the producer.
Wow.
And how you pick beans too. Like I was telling you earlier about in Costa Rica, and I know a lot of other countries, coffee industry is a family affair. So you're producing, you're picking, you're drying, everything in your own little house, your little farm, and that process has to be protected as well. If I'm paying $4 for a latte, what part of those $4 are going to go to the farmer? What is it that is? And that's kind of like that's what we do in a specialty coffee. Like we really get to know that whole process.
Yeah, and be able to break it down.
You have to be able to break it down, and it is difficult. And one of the things that we talk about, and I really want to do this, create a sort of a mini Arizona Association of coffee shops where our goal really is to educate the public about what is really happening with coffee.
Yeah.
Like, don't just have coffee to have coffee. Don't drink coffee just to drink coffee. To really understand the culture of coffee, where is it coming from? Like, that would be amazing to understand that, right?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of places like Starbucks and all these coffee houses and cafes, we don't care. Nobody knows, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just coffee.
Yeah.
No, it's not just coffee. It's a coffee from a producer in Honduras or Salvador, and this is the challenge that they presented. And guess what? That year, it was so much rain. And the challenges of that, or it was super dry, and the challenges of that. And if it's in Africa, there's a conflict that happened, and how is this affected the coffee that you're drinking?
Right.
So that is a thing that'll be amazing if we can actually present it to the public, and the public can be, aware of it. And I think that I would love to do association where we can bring, because another challenge that the industry is having right now, which we haven't talked about challenges, but one of the challenges is baristas, like good quality baristas.
Okay, so tell me more about that, because I heard you have unique training methods.
We do have
all of your.
We do have unique training methods, and it's all about what is a barista.
Yeah.
Right. So if we think about a barista from Starbucks, well, that's someone that needs a little cash, someone that is in school, and yada yada. Right.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Yep.
And then we're thinking a barista is more than just someone that knows how to pour coffee. A barista is a professional. It should be a career, because the barista, when we bring baristas to the shop after the interview and after we know that they're passionate about coffee, all right, let's talk about coffee. Let's talk about the history of coffee. The challenges that coffee has gone through the years, right? We know it came from Ethiopia. We know that it got a boom from Yemen. We know that there is several times in history that coffee has been wanted to be banned by not only Muslims, by Catholic Church, and it has come out. There's some times in history where diseases wanted to destroy all coffee, bugs. So coffee has
a
crazy
rich history.
Huge. And then so we teach that first. Okay. Get to know the coffee, get to know what this product is, what is coming from, everything. Then we start talking about different varietals of coffee, different processes of coffee, now the farming and all those things. that is a whole college course.
Oh, yeah.
It is. And to maintain that, to say that there's thousands of varietals, but to understand each one of them and how that affects the coffee, the cup quality of the cup, that's a lot. That's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
You know, we have natural coffees, we have wash coffees, we have honey processes, all those things. What does that mean? It's just, you know, my baristas have to know that and have to understand, like, if this is a varietal, let's say Caturra, a varietal, and this is the process, this is a honey process. It comes from Salvador, and it was by this farm, and it was on this elevation, and it was, you know, all that information. Yeah. That's what we want our baristas to not only retain, but also to be able to tell customers about it. Yeah. Share it.
It's like a sommelier for...
Very much like it. Yeah, it really is.
It is.
Yeah.
Because if they're knowing that much, and think about it, sommeliers go to their full-blown training where they have to test everything and know everything. Gosh, and that's exactly what you're describing, but the coffee version, basically.
The coffee version. Oh, yeah. Sommeliers, even think about the boom of mixology. Right?
Yeah.
That just happened the last, 15 years, right? We really started looking at alcohol differently.
Yeah.
Let's start making our own syrups. Let's start making, make it beautiful, make it pretty, make it more really beautiful cocktails.
Yeah.
Then are you going to say a bartender is the same thing as a mixologist?
Exactly.
Right?
No.
These mixologists, they go to school. They have all this knowledge. Same thing with baristas.
Yeah.
The problem is that the barista is not earning as much as I would say mixologist, right? Or sommelier. But they have to go through the same rigid, process. So my goal is, what I would like to do, I would like to do a little association. And I've talked to a lot of coffee shop owners about this, where we can have a local minimum wage. Just just an industry-wide minimum wage
for baristas. Or for
baristas.
Okay.
So, because we have the federal, we have the state in India, but we don't have an industry, and I think that's where we're going to attract really good quality people.
Yeah.
And also, we want to have this as a career. So, let's say you start as a barista.
Yeah.
Well, what else is out there? Well, you can be a coffee director. You can you can work in the production side of coffee, roasting. You can actually be a buyer, a seller for coffee. You can do so many more things and work for the government just in the protection of coffee. And how do we keep it sustainable and for years to come? There's so many things you can do, but the problem is, and this happened like 4 years ago, like we start seeing a dip in quality of baristas. And I couldn't hire baristas because people are just retiring from the industry because it pays. We have a standard of pay at Berdena, so we know that nobody's gonna go under 18, right? Okay. So if someone does, then out of our own pocket, we're gonna put in to be able to cover that. Yeah. So we know the minimum wage is here, things like $11.50 by now.
Yeah,
right?
You're way above that.
Yeah.
But you're asking a lot from them.
A lot of, yes. So there's a lot of tips that come in, right?
Yeah.
But what happens in the summer when those tips go down? So in the winter is great, and tourists are, they tip well. But then after that, a lot of coffee shops just go down, and then now you're making $15, $14 an hour.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. So we can't let that happen. We can't. They still need to pay bills and everything. Coffee is interesting because if you go to a good restaurant, and something that would cost you 2 years ago $11 for a meal. Yeah. Now it's going to cost you $16, $15, right? Yeah. $15, $16. Coffee, we can't do that. We can't. I just charge you for a cup of coffee that it used to cost you 10 years ago, $3.50. Is it going to cost you the same more now? I mean, we keep it the same. Yeah. It has not, the price has not gone up. Yeah. Right? We're still paying $3.50 for a cup of coffee. Yeah. If you decide to charge $8 for just a cup of coffee, you're like, oh man, no way. I can make that at home. You know? So we have not been able to raise prices on coffee as much as we should, right? If we have association where all of us decide, hey, listen, we are providing an incredible product that we kind of centralize throughout the process, throughout the industry. Yeah. And we're going to charge this much for this product. Yeah. Right? And you have no choice. If you go to Mythico, if you go to whatever like coffee shop, we all going to charge the same as a standard. Yep. So you have no choice. Just push us to be better, push us to give you quality, and you're gonna pay for that quality. Yeah. And that way we can pay more to employees. I hate the whole tipping system, but I come from a country that has no tipping system, right? That died in the 70s in Costa Rica. Yeah. Now it's like, no, we're gonna pay you a good wage, good money,
and that should be enough.
It should be enough. But you, as a consumer, you need to demand that quality because you're gonna pay for that quality. Yeah. Right. I'm looking now into the politics side now of. Okay, so we right now going to a really weird recession time. Like everything is more expensive.
Yeah.
An avocado that used to cost us, like 75 cents, 80 cents. Now it's like $2-3,
dollars.
Yeah, 100%. And we make thousands of avocado toast, right? So for us, the price is going crazy. I can't charge more for that. I mean, I could, but
only so much.
Only so much.
Right.
Until people are like, okay, that's sketchy. You know what? That's insane.
Right.
And so every product is being going up. Eggs, all of it, everything.
Yeah.
And coffee has maintained a little bit, and has been our saving grace. But we need to have better baristas, right? They have to get paid better. We have to have a better standards, and we're doing really, really well on that. If you go to any specialty coffee, you're gonna have good coffee. And if you don't, you should demand it.
Yeah.
Right? But that's kind of like what I wanted to do. And so we can start learning all this history, all the processes and everything. And then the consumers can say, oh my goodness, yeah, that's insane. That's amazing. And put it in the bags of coffee. Like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
This is what it took for us to get this bag of coffee to you.
Yep.
This is the journey of this coffee.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what makes us different than cafes and coffee houses and Starbucks and all that. It's just the history behind it, the humanity behind it.
What about like the vibe in your shop? I know you have an amazing aesthetic. And how do you create an energy there that people want to stay and they want to hang out and they feel welcome and like you guys are truly friendly and want them there, How do you go about creating that and making your baristas, as well as being knowledgeable about the coffee, but also set the tone for the energy in the shop?
That's amazing. It's a trifecta. And it comes down to from the top to the bottom, right? So a lot of people open businesses, and I don't judge anybody, but you open a business, you establish it, and then you leave. Right? So then who is in charge of the identity of the coffee shop? Who or the restaurant? And you see that in a lot of places you go to.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the first year this place was popping. This was amazing. The people were so friendly. What happened now?
Yeah.
One of those three elements went away. The friendliness, right? Of course, the baristas in my case we do have the best baristas in Arizona. They are incredible. They're genuine. They really care about people.
Yeah.
And we have a sort of like a rule, on-sale rule, is that when you come to Berdena's as a worker to work, you're gonna be in the register for like 3 months.
Okay.
And all you do is create connections. Get to know the people.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are regulars, right?
Yeah.
And when I find a coffee shop that I like, I'm going there. You
Yep.
know, I love that. And it's the worst when I'm there for like 6 months and they still like, can I have your name?
Yeah.
Ah, that's awful. I'm here for you guys to be with. It's a different.
It's a relationship.
It is a relationship more than a restaurant, more than anything else. A coffee shop is a relationship. So they do that. So they have to stay there for 3 or 4 months. Just now is a little less. I don't think people are staying in the register for that long.
Yeah.
But they do, and all of my baristas have connections with different people.
Okay.
Minimum of 10 connections. After that, then you get into the machine, and then I used to learn latte art and all that.
Yeah.
But they have no choice. Our baristas are friendly. They have to be.
Yeah.
And they're happy to be there, right? But it's up to me to keep that energy going.
Yeah.
If I leave, if I'm gone for like a year, then the identity kind of starts taking over some people, and you have to always someone has to be there that cares about the business. My managers are amazing. So my managers, they have been able to we do have meetings and everything, and they believe in me as a person, but they believe in the company even more, right? Because they don't see, that is Jonathan's business. No, it's our business. This is where
they're bought in.
Exactly, 100%, 100%. And so that is the first one. How do you bring people, and how do you have this happy place?
Yeah.
And then the space itself. That's a challenge, because the space has to be beautiful.
Yes.
Right? Pleasing. You can have really good baristas, really good coffee, and okay environment, okay building. But it's nowadays beautiful shops are the ones that are gonna make it. You know? Sad but true. We took our inspiration from, we went to California a lot, and a lot of bringing that Santa Monica, Santa Cruz, and into Arizona, into the desert.
Okay.
So that's why when you go to Berdena's, the one in Old Town, it's bright. It's I love plants, so I want plants, and we even have someone that just come in just for our plants. Yeah, she comes in and just wipes every single little leaf and keep it nice and bright. Wallpapers, the color of the machine, everything has to be bright and happy.
Yeah.
And because that's where you want to be. You want to spend a place that is bright and happy.
Yeah.
I do not like those grungy coffee shops that you go there and it's just like, we do also give a lot of freedom to our employees to play music. So they, you know,
they are setting the tone a little bit.
They set the tone 100%. Okay. And if there's something like is a little sketch, you know, okay, let's go. But they know me so well that they know already within their own taste in music, they know what's appropriate for the shop because they know me.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And then the quality of food and coffee. Like you have to have those three. If you don't have good quality food and good quality of coffee, then just shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
How long, obviously you talked a little bit about the struggles in the beginning of the business and not knowing and just kind of like, I got to go for it, right? Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to get to like a break even point or even like, hey, we actually made money, right? Like, cause I know that's different in every business, but what does that look like in your experience?
That was interesting because 2 years in, I'm like, whoa, we got something here.
Yeah.
We got something. This is not just a hobby. This is not something that I just wanted to do for like, no, this is something interesting. And that happened with introduction of more food.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't want to have like a full crazy menu. I know that I wanted to have just 3 items.
Yep.
And so we have our avocado toast, we have our crazy burrito, we have our breakfast sandwich people go crazy over. Keeping that quality ended up being like, we got an award, this most random award ever, the best avocado toast in Phoenix.
Hey, so I gotta try it. I love avocado toast.
You have to. And it's all about the process.
Yeah.
So we were focusing so much on the food that I want to eat and the quality that I want to have.
Yeah.
We were so focusing on that. We were not, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing, but we didn't have a logo for the first year. Like I didn't have, I think it said Berdena's. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like we had a little sandwich board in the corner, but we spent no money in marketing at all.
Okay.
And we were like trying to have word of mouth. You know, the cheapest thing you can do is word of mouth.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, that works so well because
really?
Yeah, and it was all about what kind of experience I want to have.
Yeah.
And people were starting to talk to other people, and all of a sudden we're having 200, 300 avocado toasts in a week, and it's like absolutely insane.
Yeah.
That food was the one that the sales from that food was just so much, and people were coming now for both of them, you know, because before it was just coffee.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, we're losing a little money on baked goods because I think, you know, we were spending 2 years ago, we were spending $120,000 just in baked goods.
Yeah.
We're getting so much. And we were selling a lot as well. But what if we make our own? You know, like what if we start making our own baked goods?
Bring it in-house,
and then, and then bring in, it's a cost to make it, but also the profits.
Yeah.
So 2 years in, we start seeing really very healthy numbers. We are hitting this year on a 900 square foot building. After 7 years, we're gonna hit 1 million gross.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And it feels really good because now that little shop is actually funding other little shops.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. I don't have to really, now we're building a restaurant, now we're building a bakery. And those are things that now that's different, that little shop is not going to support those. But it is like the fact that we have a name out there that is synonymous of quality.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. To keep quality is a challenge that I could never say we are the best coffee shop in town. No, that's not what I want it to be, right?
Okay.
But that the constant search for quality is the thing that you see the numbers go up.
Yeah.
Still don't do marketing. I still don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cult though. I feel like the coffee shop, like people who are anti, right? We talked about this, people who are anti like the big boys, right? They don't want to go there. They only will go get their, craft coffee and they will share with each other, hey, this is a good one, this is a bad one, don't go there, I had a great experience there. And it's like this little cult following. So it kind of makes sense that you wouldn't necessarily need this massive budget because you're not going after the mass crowd. You're going after the person who cares and understands the science behind it and appreciates the intentionality you guys are.
Intentionality matters.
Yeah.
Like, yes, 100%.
And when someone comes in and they're used to, the Folgers and the Starbucks and it's just coffee to them, it's almost like a bummer for you guys, I would imagine.
It is, but it's a challenge because
it's like, how do we convert them?
Exactly. That's part of the training. How do you without putting them down, oh, that's garbage, what are you doing? No, it's like, oh, that's interesting, you like that, try this.
Yeah.
And let me know what you think.
Okay.
And I think that's what we have a lot of conversion because of that.
Yeah.
And when someone tells you that this is special, you're like, oh, it's special. So you might know because you know about coffee. And it is, and so you buy into it and then you tell people. During pandemic, that's one of the things that it helped us a lot.
Yeah.
because we never marketed to tourists ever.
Okay.
My focus was just the local people, right? And that's why word of mouth was that
the best
thing. I was so relieved that worked, because during pandemic, locals were the ones that were coming in and just like supporting and making sure that we were okay. We didn't lose anyone during pandemic. We didn't have to shut down. We were really responsible in any other way, but we were okay. And because we had that product and people want us to keep there, but want to keep supporting.
And it's their moment. It's their moment to get out of the house and come hang out and see a friendly face and make life feel normal again.
100%.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love the passion that you have for coffee. It's so much fun. And I think that the experience you're creating in your store is so amazing, because not only is it affecting the staff, I know that people love to work for a boss who genuinely cares, and you clearly do. And so
I work for other bosses, so I think kind of like
you know how it is when they don't care. You don't feel as excited about coming to work. So of course your staff, wants to be there and loves to be there, and hopefully, is creating the experience that you want for the rest of the customers. And then your customers are loyal because it's that quality product every single time. And it sounds like you guys are always trying to innovate, right? Okay, we can buy these syrups, let's try to make them. We can buy these pastries, let's try to make them. So I think that really makes you guys unique and different, even from other amazing coffee, shops around, is that you're taking that time to say, how can we make this just 1% better? And that's all that matters. It's not about beating everyone else. It's
100%.
just about that little bit more every single day.
Yeah, and every coffee shop brings a little something different, and that's what's beautiful about it. That we're unique in one ways, but then all the other coffee shops around us, they're so unique in other ways.
Yeah, so you can respect them and learn 100%. From them and grow, and I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. It's so fun to be here.
Yes, I love it. Do you have any other big projects coming up?
Yes, as I said before, we want to get our baked goods to another level.
Yeah.
So we are definitely doing another bakery. So one of the things about our name, Berdena's, where does it come from? It's all family related names. Okay. So we chose names in our family, broke the mold, right? Berdena's was someone that came from, we're talking about great-great-great-grandmother, came from Ireland and made a mark.
Okay.
And then this other one is, it's going to call Wanda's, my bakery. It's going to be named Wanda's. And Wanda is my grandma. Okay. It's incredible. Great inspiration to me. Great, huge supporter of me and Berdena's, and amazing human. We are actually working at a restaurant, full on brunch. Yes. And I'm saying too much, but it's going to be next to the Fred, the one in Phoenix, our coffee shop in Phoenix, full on brunch. Yeah. And we're going to convert it in the evening for a wine bar.
So okay. So, mimosas with brunch?
100%
okay,
mimosas.
As soon as the baby's out, I'll be there.
Oh, yes. Mimosas and breakfast margaritas.
Okay. I like it.
And the wine bar is going to be, we're going to focus on natural wines.
Nice.
So it's going to be incredible. It's going to be a really nice place. And all the small bites. Okay. It's going to be very simple, Berdena style. But and it's coming. So hopefully by the time this airs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. And where do people find out more about you, and where is the location so they can go visit?
100%. Our Instagram first. We put all of the information there. Okay. Our website only has our menu. Yeah. But we really want people to go into the Instagram to get to know the staff, get to know the place. So we have our first location. First location is in Old Town in Scottsdale, Fifth Avenue in Goldwater. Okay. Second location is in Phoenix. Yeah. 12 in Missouri. Yeah. And it's in this beautiful complex called the Fred. Okay. Gorgeous place with a really amazing other vendors. And that's where we're also going to have a little restaurant. So
awesome. Well, we'll have to go check it out. And everyone who's listening, who's local, you guys will have to go visit too, and let us know how you like the coffee, and now hopefully the pastries too.
Yes, definitely the pastries too.
Yeah. Love it. Well, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciated having you. And this was, I think, our first guest who has a brick and mortar store, right? I think everyone else has been like marketing, tech, like studios thing. I guess studios, but like a restaurant, coffee shop. We've been talking about this for so long. We're like, we need someone with a brick and mortar. So thank you for coming.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This is fun.
Good. Yes, well, I'm happy you were here. Yeah. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Young Boss Podcast with me, Isabel Garino. Be sure to like, share, and follow on Instagram and TikTok, and let us know when you plan to go visit Jonathan's Coffee Shop. Remember, youth is your power.